y'all, I'm Elisa, the Scrappy Wife behind scrappywife.com, and today I have a faith journal setup video for you. I am going to be working through This I Know from By the Will for God this month. I do have an unboxing of this that I will link here so you can check it out. And I'm going to be working primarily in a traveler's notebook. So I'm going to get that set up today. I kind of have a really simple setup in mind, so I hope you like it. It's going to be using these gorgeous papers from By the Will for God. You can still pick these up. You can also just use papers from your stash. I had several people comment that they loved the colors so much and they were so happy because they did have some of these colors in their stash. So feel free to use whatever you have around for sure. I will definitely link everything that I use down below so you can check those out. Heads up, those are affiliate links. It doesn't cost you any extra, but it does go a long way in helping support this channel. So I thank you in advance. All right, let's go. All right, I'm going to start off with a really simple front cover. This little piece of vellum came in the kit and I just love it. So I'm going to set it askew on the paper and then just simply use the sticker that came with the kit. That is the kit sticker and one of the labels to label it. This I Know. I'll just scoot it down just a little bit here. Got a little overzealous and placed it just a little bit too high. So scooting that down, and then I will grab my Tile Alpha stickers and add the words January 2021, which still feels kind of surreal to be putting on things. It's that time. Remember when you are writing checks and it takes a while to learn to write the new date? That's what it still feels like. I'm definitely still in that mode, but adding that to the front, and now I'm going to take my attention to the inside. Whenever I am setting up traveler's notebooks in advance, I always like to kind of plan out where I'm going to put different parts of my devotional study. So I'll have a place for taking notes. I'll have a place for writing scripture. I'll have a place for prayer, and I'll have a place for artwork. And my plan is to kind of have a place in this notebook for hidden notes, for notes that aren't necessarily pretty, that are just me taking notes in the devotional, maybe reflecting on some of the questions, doing some hidden prayer journaling, things like that. And so what I'm going to do, because I love these papers so much, I knew I wanted to include as many as possible in my traveler's notebook, just because they're just so beautiful and it feels like they don't even need any help. They are beautiful all on their own. So I'm going to use them to create pockets on each layout. So you can see I am adding adhesive to just 3 sides, the top, what will be the left, and then the bottom. And I'm placing it on the page. It's almost filling up the whole page, not quite, pressing it down really well. And then you can see what I have is a little pocket. And what I will do is use as many of the papers as I can. I end up using all but 2 of the designs, and I will place that on the right side of each layout. And in that hidden pocket is where I will have a place for notes, some hidden prayer journaling, things like that. And then that leaves the left side completely open. So I have some options. I can do scripture writing over there. I can focus on artwork. I could add scripture writing to the front of these pockets if I wanted to. I'm just going to speed it up here so you don't have to watch me do this slowly. But it's a pretty simple idea. You guys know I'm a big fan of interactive traveler's notebooks. Something where it's not just flipping through, but where you're kind of invited to kind of dig deep and look in. I find those really intriguing and they definitely speak to me. And so I like to incorporate some sort of interactive element as much as I can, and having these pockets will serve that purpose for me. Plus I get to use all of these gorgeous patterns and I get to have them as a big bold element on my page, which I think is so fun. So I'm going to do that for all 14 days. So I have 14 layouts ready to go. This one will be my last one. I'm just double checking to make sure I have it in the right order. I don't want to get out of order and skip a page because we've all done that before. So getting that last one on, and now the main pockets are done in this traveler's notebook. All right, so what I'm going to do for the actual prayer cards that are going to go in there is I'm just going to cut some paper down, and it's going to be 3¼ inches by 7½. And you can see I have those sheets of paper right there. I just used a slightly thicker copy paper, not all the way to cardstock because I didn't want it to be so bulky, but it's about a 32-pound copy paper, and I will link it below. It's my favorite paper to print printables on. And then I'm going to use this We Are Memory Keepers tab punch to punch tabs out of this gorgeous paper. Once again, another possibility on getting to include these elements. And I will end up just adding that little tab on to the side right here. I'll go ahead and do them all at the top. I definitely could have changed it up, but again, simplicity works really well just because everything is already so beautiful. This kit just, like I've said before, like I said it in my unboxing, it's one of the prettiest kits I feel like I've ever seen, and it doesn't need a lot. The elements are already so beautiful. You don't have to work super hard to make beautiful spreads and beautiful layouts and things like that, and it really allows you to focus in on the devotional. So I'm adding in the tabs. I realized that I put the adhesive on the wrong side. Luckily, this adhesive kind of just rubs off pretty easily. If you haven't stuck it down yet, I kind of can gum it off, and I'll add it to the correct side, flipping it over, and then I will stick that one in there. And I'm going to go through and create all of the tabbed pages for this whole journal, and that way I will be set to go for when I actually sit down to read and study the devotional. All of the elements will be in place. Next, I'm going to grab for the set of labels that you can get that coordinates with this kit. And I will admit, when By the Will for God started using these labels, I wasn't really sure that I would actually find a place to use them in my journaling. And I am definitely eating my words because I have used them to no end. I've used each month. I've ended up using a ton of them because I think they're actually pretty versatile. If you like to have simpler journaling pages, these are a great way to kind of just highlight the verse, write a quick note, a quick prayer, something like that. They are already so gorgeous. I used them all over my Memory Decks cards from last month, and then I'm using them this month to label each page. I'm going to label each of the pages with the day just so I can make sure I'm not losing track of where I am. And I thought about going ahead and putting a title in, but there have been a few times that I've added a title that when I went back and actually read and studied, I wished I could change the title, if that makes sense. So I'm going to leave a little bit more open in this particular faith journal so that I can kind of create a little bit more as I go. I do like having some consistent formatting when I'm creating a traveler's notebook like this. So I like the pockets on each page. I like the label on each page, just so it starts in the same place. But then I have that whole left side that is completely blank that I will be able to just go crazy with. And each day can kind of be its own individual look if I want it to. If they start to all kind of work together, that also works just as well. So, but I'm just leaving myself a little bit more freedom this time around. I would love to know if you are a traveler's notebook person, which I know a lot of you are. You love working in the traveler's notebooks. Do you like setting it up in advance, or do you like having it blank just to kind of see where the devotional takes you? I've seen ladies go both ways on Instagram where they create the most gorgeous traveler's notebook pages just on the fly. And then I've seen some gorgeous setups that that really speak to me as well. So I'd love to hear what your opinion is. Generally, I like to have mine set up, at least partially set up in advance, so that I have kind of a consistent format for each one. This probably is going to be the closest to changing it up as I get, leaving that one blank page. Otherwise, there is a pretty consistent look from day to day. You can see that I am stamping. I'm using the Cornerstone Alpha stamp set, which is just so beautiful. It has a stone look. And then I'm getting the chance to use a ton of my clear alphas, and including the alpha that came with the kit, to label each day. I'll go through on all of the labels and label day 1, 2, 3, all the way through 14. And like I said, this just helps me keep track. A lot of times I'm journaling in the morning and I just don't want to risk that my coffee hasn't kicked in and that I start journaling on the wrong page. Although I'll be honest, that has happened to me. You guys have seen it where I've even journaled like on the wrong Bible page where the verse was on the backside or something like that. It happens to all of us. It's not a huge deal, but if I go ahead and label the days in advance, then that just helps me out as I'm sitting down to journal. One less thing to do when I'm journaling. It's ready to go. Skipping ahead, I have added all of the labels, all of the days, and now I'm taking my attention to this front page. And I often like to start out this front page as either a title page, or I really like doing a prayer page, a prayer to start out the devotional, just asking God to reveal the lessons He has for me, things like that. And so I will start out with a couple of different distress inks. I have a purple here. I think this one is the Seedless Preserves. That's my guess, or Dusty Concord. I will list it below. And then the Weathered Wood. And I will kind of mix those two colors just to give a little bit of color to that white page. I want it to be really loose, really gentle colors in the background. And then I'm going to come back with some of the stamps that were available this month. First up will be the Foundational Fillers stamp set. And I just love the stamp set because it's so good for backgrounds. And I'm going to take this stone look right here, and I'm grabbing a piece of spare paper because I know I want to do kind of a second generation stamp. I don't want it to be so intense. I am gently putting it on the weathered wood and then gently adding it into the Seedless Preserves. Okay, technically you're not supposed to like mix your ink pads like this, but I promise I'm being super gentle. They're not really mixing very much at all. And then I'm just going to put it on the page, and you're going to see it's very much kind of a rough look, and I am all about it. It's kind of a grungy background. I really, really, really like it. It's hard to stamp on the front of this now that I've already put a ton of paper behind it. So my traveler's notebook is already super bulky, and you see it gets a little bit intense down at the bottom, but I'm just going for it. I'm adding that texture, that pattern, those colors. It is tons of fun. And then the next stamp set I am grabbing is Hope's Door, and it has the most gorgeous gate, this door on it that is absolutely beautiful. I just love it. And it's this huge stamp. So I've grabbed my bigger stamp block. I'm going to put it on there, and I'm going to do a practice stamp because this is the first time I've used this stamp. I just want to see how it does, how even it is. So I'm inking it up. When you have such a big stamp like this, you definitely want to take the ink to the stamp rather than the stamp to the ink, if that makes sense. Trying it on my scrap piece of paper, it does a gorgeous job. So I will move that out of the way. I've learned my lesson, so I'm kind of flipping my traveler's notebook. I use my adhesive tool to hold down the bulk over there, and I just wanted this single page laid flat so that I would get a great image. And I'm inking it up again, just making sure it's really well inked, and then I'm going to put it right there on the bottom, right over the stamping that I already have, and it came out so nicely. It's kind of hard to see, but what I'm going to do now is add a title. This I know up here at the top, and then that leaves me some room in the middle to add some prayer journaling just to start out. And so I will ink this up. This I know as the title of the devotional, and I just love the look of this page. I think it's been a little while since I've gotten pretty messy, and I am like feeling the messiness, feeling the unpredictability of some of these distress pieces. Now, I have my water brush pen, and before I add watercolor over the top, I'm actually just adding a little water to kind of activate some of those distress oxides so that they blend a little bit nicer. I'll put in some light purple, some lilac over here on the edges just to help define this door here, the outlines. And then I'm going to come through with a beautiful gray on the bottom where it has kind of a gated look. I was checking to see if there was bleed through, and there's not, which is awesome because I was kind of expecting there to be some with all of the distress oxide that I was using, but it didn't bleed through. This is really great paper, and it doesn't always stand up to mixed media when I get excited and use a ton of water, but it held up this time, so I am super glad. I barely had any bleed through. It'll be really easy to deal with once I sit down to journal day 1. Like I said, I'm just bringing out a few accents. I have some green to highlight some of the vines growing around the store, and then I will add the gray just to add a little bit more definition to the bottom of the door. And my page will be done. Off camera, I will add in some lines and some prayer journaling, and then I will put it all together and show you the final product. Let's see it. All right, so I have it all set up. I'm going to put it in my Chic Sparrow Traveler's Notebook. I'll set the first part up here with the devotional, just putting it in right here. Perfect. And then I will add in I just go to the middle right here, add in this on this half, and then I am all set up for the study. I can also add in this little sleeve right here in the middle to be able to hold some extra pieces. And actually, I think what I want to do is to go ahead and put in the Last Traveler's Notebook, which would be a great place for sermon notes this time around. So I have all this set up. Let me just switch a couple of these. All right, so my notebook is all set up. I have the devotional here in the front. I have this plastic sleeve that has a little zipper here and a place that I can put some of the goodies that I want to work with, probably some of the printables. And then I have my traveler's notebook ready to go, opening prayer, a place for art and for scripture writing for each day, and then a place for notes for every day that I can tuck away very easily, which I really, really like. And then I have my other traveler's notebook in here that'll be great for sermon notes during the month of January. And I will put this in here. It is all set and ready to go. So excited to start this new study. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and consider hitting that subscribe button and the bell notification button so you will be the first to know when I release new videos. I have linked all of the supplies down below, so if you're interested in checking those out, just check out the description box. I hope that you have a fabulous day, and as always, keep it creative.